There's just a few things I wanted to mention and thank a number of people again. One, we have pushed, if you will, the Alumni Association, the Small College Basketball Association, we now call it. And there's a number of people in this room that have not only joined the Small College Basketball Association, but you've joined as lifetime members. And I sincerely want to thank you. I thought about reading every name, but it takes up a couple pages here. So please know that I know who you are. You're on our website. You're on the site for the Alumni Association, the Small College Basketball Association. And it's hard to thank you enough because you believed in what we were doing, enough so that you invested in what we were doing. So I want to say thank you. And I want to say thank you to those that are members of our national committee with the Small College Basketball Association. A number of them are here this evening, but as a group, often we thank the committee. Those committees are consisting of human beings, of people that take the time out of their schedule to help us, to be part of what we're doing. And I want to thank the people part of that national committee are Jeremy Currier, Scott Bittner, Mark Vanderslice, Jason Aker, Tom Smith, Chris McCabe, Chris Caridio, Justin Barkley, Charlie Brock, Bob Hoffman, Brent Owens, Mike Lamberti. And here with us tonight, I know Bob Hoffman is here, Dr. Jim Poteet is here, Tom Smith, Chris McCabe are all here with us this evening. So I want to say thank you for taking your time and effort to serve as part of this committee to make this happen. For those of you who have not joined the Alumni Association or the Small College Basketball Association, I encourage you to do so. And there's two things that you can do to help, to be honest. One is join that association. Just go on the website, you see Small College Basketball Association. And secondly, as I mentioned at the beginning, this evening we have dissolved the LLC. We operate fully under the 501c3 nonprofit Small College Basketball Foundation. A number of the board of directors, actually all but one, are in attendance this evening. And I thank the board of directors for the Small College Basketball Association. And I just got a couple other things I want to mention. And one, Brad Terrell is here, as you are well aware, representing the Terrell family that you heard from him earlier. But I really want to thank the Kraft Family Foundation. That was really big for the creation of the Ryan Terrell Character and Inspiration Award, to have somebody of Mr. Robert Kraft's stature to sponsor that award in the Kraft Family Foundation. And I'm wearing the blue square here, and I saw Brad Terrell has that. On the tables at the reception afterwards, I spread a whole bunch of the blue square around, and they are put out through the FCAS, the Foundation to Combat Anti-Semitism. I'm an Irish Catholic guy, and I learned a little bit about the Foundation to Combat Anti-Semitism, and it's hard not to get behind something that simply says spread love and combat hate, and that's the basic gist. I encourage you to take one of the blue squares and help join us in helping to spread love and combat hate. And I really want to thank Mr. Robert Kraft for his support. And by the way, it is a multi-year, 5-year agreement even to just start with that award, and we're really grateful to him. I want to thank those from the University of Rio Grande, Jeff Lanham, the athletic director, Ryan Arrowwood and his bride for being here with us today, driving all the way from Rio Grande to be here with us to share the story of Bevo Francis. Jeff Lanham, when I first posed the idea of the Bevo Francis Award, before I could finish a few sentences telling him about what we wanted to do, he said, yes, we've got to do this. We've got to keep the legacy of Bevo Francis alive. And I want to let you know that we got to Bevo just months before he passed away to get his blessing to name this award after him. And we're so grateful to that. I want to thank those from Northwest Missouri State. I want to thank Ken and Jeanette Scribner, who sponsored this award, Northwest Missouri State, and Margie Dirks, that took the time to sponsor the Trevor Hudgens Award. We want to keep that going for many, many years to come. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here this evening. Real importantly, you've heard Coach Statham up here a couple times on stage. And in this room, our trajectory of small college basketball changed. Right after he finished his career, Harry and Rose drove from Lebanon, from Southern Illinois to be here, where we presented them with a plaque to honor his career after 52 years being the gentleman of college basketball, 1,122 wins. And as we finished up, I remember this specifically, we had the social, as we'll have tonight, and Rose and Harry came over, And I remember this specifically, and Rose, you'll remember this. She said, "Do you need help?" I said, "I'm not sure what you mean by help, but probably." And she said, "I mean, do you need money?" And I said, "Well, probably." And she said, "Well, Harry and I are going to talk about that on the way home." And I got the call a little bit later, and they made a pledge to help small college basketball. And I can tell you, every year since that point, they have been large, significant contributors to small college basketball. So when you want to know how are we able to afford to fly people in and put them up in the hotels and pay for the staging, lighting, sound, video production, how are we able to maintain the website, how are we able to run the Hall of Fame and so on, certainly we do have some partners. Certainly we have award sponsors. But I can tell you, Harry and Rose have led by example to help us sustain this going forward, to help us build the tribute to small college basketball. There have been others, and we are very grateful to those others. George Tinsley and Larry Smith and Bo Ryan have been among some of our biggest supporters, and we're very grateful. But I encourage you to help us keep this going with a contribution to our foundation and or by joining the Small College Basketball Association to make that happen. This is the first time we've run this. There's a 6th national award. We presented 5 of them today. One of them we usually present in conjunction with the Hall of Fame induction. In fact, we have since after the first Hall of Fame induction. It's called the Larry Smith Award. And we presented it every year there, and the reason we present it at the Hall of Fame is because Larry just loves the Hall of Fame induction and wanted to be there. And in fact, up until this past November, he never missed one since we started it in inception. Evansville, Indiana, St. Joe, Missouri, Lakeland, Florida. He was at every one. And just a few weeks before this year's event, it was in mid-October, I got the call, and I can remember where I was standing to let me know that my friend Larry just passed away. And I just wanted to acknowledge my friend Larry Smith for helping us start the Larry Smith Award. It was his daughter. We surprised him with the award. But I just wanted to acknowledge my friend Larry Smith, who is so supportive to attend every single Hall of Fame induction in 3 different states, to use his own money to help support our foundation, to use his own money to support the Larry Smith Award after his daughter helped get it started. I also want to thank, and I've mentioned a couple times tonight, my friend Dr. Jim Poteet. A number of you know him. We've taken a lot of long car rides and done a lot of talking. And I can tell you that as we've morphed from the Small College Basketball LLC, as we moved into the foundation, he has been there every step of the way to help guide this process. And I'm so proud to call him my friend. And at 84 years old, he's just been really special to me, and I just wanted to acknowledge him. There's a moment that I don't even know if my wife, Christine, who's here, knows this, but when we were starting this, the first year, I remember trying to figure out how are we going to pay for this? We've got some cool ideas, but how are we going to pay for it? And we got to the point, I don't know if I want to use the term desperate, but that might be accurate, to figure out, I know what we wanted to do, we're just trying to figure out how we're going to make it happen and pay for it. And I got to the point of actually starting a GoFundMe when we got started. And I had bunch of people throw in 25 and 50 bucks and $100, and I thought, this is great. I think we're going to make it. When I went to church at St. Therese up the road here in Parkville, Missouri, and I remember specifically, I can tell you where I was walking coming out of church, and I looked at my phone, and there was a $500 contribution from Carrie Phillips, who is here tonight and just left just a little bit ago. Out of the goodness of his heart, he threw in a $500 contribution, which at that point was the largest contribution we had, and it just gave us hope that we could make it. And I think here we are. It was November of 2015 when we had the press conference. We're almost 10 years later, and there was really something of a feeling that you believed in us. You believed in what we were doing. And I'm just going to finish with the story, but before I do, there's one other person I want to thank, and this is a personal one, and this has nothing to do with basketball. But I'm the oldest of 3 brothers. John, Jeff, and Jimmy. My parents were John and Joan. You might sense a pattern in that case. And all 3 boys were born on the day before Friday the 13th. I know one of the coaches just mentioned Friday the 13th. All of us were born on Thursday the 12th, the day before Friday the 13th. I'd like to look at that as a good fortune. But I'm the oldest of three, and I want to just acknowledge the fact that my brother Jeff, this is the first time he's ever attended something like this. I've been talking about it for ad nauseum to him for year after year after year about what we were doing. And this year I just asked him if you would please come, because rather than just hear me talk about it, I want you to see it. I want you to feel what I feel when I'm up here. And I just want to thank my brother for flying in from San Diego to be here to witness this for the first time. I was so moved by everybody on stage tonight. And to me, I'll finish with this story of how we got started. I had this idea in my head, and I remember standing in my parents' house in Florida, telling my dad, rambling on and on about what I wanted to do and how cool it was going to be and how fun it was going to be and how much of an impact we can make and so on. And he was a good listener. He's a pretty sharp guy. And after he heard me ramble on for a long time, he said, okay, I got two questions. He said, I have a comment and two questions. He said, my comment is your passion and your enthusiasm is probably going to attract a number of people, and that's a good thing. He said, but number one, and I was talking initially about the Hall of Fame component, he said, you're talking about some big name people. He said, you think anybody's going to actually show up? And I remember standing on stage in that 2016, the inaugural Hall of Fame induction. We built the stage on the floor at the Ford Center in Evansville, Indiana. And I looked around me on stage that night. It was Earl the Pearl Monroe. It was Jerry Sloan, had Lewy body dementia and Parkinson's, and had just broke his foot before he flew from Salt Lake City to be there. We had Travis Grant there. We had Dick Barnett there. We had John Rinka there. John Ebling was part of that class from Florida Southern. He lived in Italy at the time, and he flew from Italy to be there. And lastly, you might recognize this name. There was a gentleman that passed away in 1939. He did not come back, named Dr. James Naismith, the founder of our wonderful game of basketball. And I was fortunate to be surrounded by his grandchildren. Helen Naismith Carpenter came. Jim Naismith, his grandson, came. And I remember being able to stand on stage and say, yes, Dad, we built it. And they came. And tonight, I feel the same way. We built this. We built this. People keep giving me praise, and that's awfully kind of you. But I'm sharp enough, I hope, to know that I didn't build this. We built this, and you came. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you.